people who are consistently late. Why? How do you do it? My grandparents are the complete opposite of each other. My granddad hates being late, and my grandmother hates being too early. So, to solve this, they drive to the location 10 minutes early, then drive around the car park street until they see someone else come in before entering. It's funny looking outside the window at a family gathering and seeing them drive past multiple times. The use of Thunderbird pilots are also well known for this. At their internal meetings, briefings, etc., team members consider being early as bad as being late. This stems from the fact that in precision flying, in close proximity to other planes, you must be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time or else lives could be lost. My boss consistently underestimates the time required for certain tasks, such as travel. He genuinely seems to have a problem analyzing and processing the passage of time. He doesn't seem to learn from mistakes. For example, he can't seem to understand that if a round trip to a given location requires 90 minutes on 2 different occasions, that it's unrealistic to expect he can make the round trip in less than an hour on the next occasion. There's always time to do something before you leave, and it always takes longer to get there than you think. I basically won't leave until it's too late, because the panic is what finally gets me out the door. That's exactly how I am. I can wake up 2 hours before I need to leave and I will still be late. I'm optimistic as heck. I think I can do more than I can. And I try. I think I am faster than everyone else. And sometimes it's true. It is entirely possible my sense of time is skewed. It probably is. I'm focused on what I'm doing at the moment and not what's coming up. I get into situations where they spiral out of control. But it's my fault. That kind of optimistic mentality and general action makes me a habitually late person. This is a good description of what I've observed of people I'm close to who are consistently late. They honestly believe they are being conscientious timely, but are just horrible at estimating. The plus side of this personality trait is they tend to be extremely laid back, open to spontaneity, etc. For me it's pretty simple. Horrible time management. I'll frequently start something thinking I have tons of time before I need to leave, only to realize after I've finished that I have 5 minutes to get where I'm going on time. I'm always on time for things that really count, but any random get together I'll pretty much always be late. Working in the airline industry, this really annoys me. Something that really bothers me is when people show up at the very last minute and miss their flight. They blame us and say we left early and that it is ridiculous that we couldn't wait for them. My response is always that we can't delay the other 150 that were able to show up on time for their flight that they booked days, weeks, months in advance. Not to mention that there are people waiting for that aircraft at the destination. But it doesn't matter, because airlines are evil and are always the one to blame. Now obviously flights get delayed, but 99% of the time it is due to passenger safety, inclement weather, mechanical issue, etc. But airlines never want to be delayed, nor do we intentionally delay flights. I think a lot of people just think that being fashionably late is following better etiquette than being on time. I think this applies more so to big parties than small gatherings. For whatever reason, a lot of people just think being the first to arrive is somehow embarrassing or makes you appear too eager and as if you have no social life otherwise, and so you have almost everyone showing up later than the time given. To late people from someone punctual who hates lateness. If you are going to be late, even if you don't have an excuse, just text me and tell me so I don't stand on the street waiting for you like a dumbass for a half hour. Tell me you're late, when you're going to get there, and I'll go get a cup of tea and everything will be chill. My biggest complaint about late people is most of the time they don't tell you they are late or when they are going to show up. I visit a lot of people in other cities. As a college graduate, my friends live in various cities. Quite often people are late. If someone goes through an extreme amount of effort to hang out with you, being late basically says you don't value that effort. Now don't tell me that wasn't my intention. We know it's not your intention to make your friends think you don't value their time and effort, but honestly, if you think it's okay for someone to sit and wait for you while you diddle around, you need to think about your priorities. A lot of people in here are like, just plan for your late friends to be late. Now hold on. How is that fair? I'm on time 95% of the time. Why can't they plan for me being on time when they know I'll be on time as much as I know they'll be late? You don't think we have anything better to do? We dropped whatever we were doing when it was time to get ready so we could be there. So just tell me you are going to be late. Then I can take care of whatever I need to take care of and we'll have fun when you get here. Hey, we are on our way. Hasn't even left yet. I learned these wise words. Reward the people who arrive on time by starting on time. If you delay for the latecomers, you are punishing on-timers and rewarding latecomers. Reward the good behavior and the unwanted behavior will adapt. I can't speak for others, but I occasionally suffer from intense ADD and from time to time this results in horrible time management. Over the years I've learned that I need to give myself an extra half hour just to make sure I get out the door in time to keep people from being cranky. I can go into more details if folks aren't sure how ADD correlates with holding up the carpool in the morning. I'm sure that some folks will see this as making an excuse for myself, and that's fine. I just wanted to point out that tardiness is not always born out of selfish disdain for others. Over the years I've discovered that I don't think of time the same way punctual people do. This was both a revelation and a great source of anxiety. Oh, I've got 30 minutes left. Okay, I'll just fiddle with this thing for a few and leave early. Holy crap, 10 minutes left. Okay, I just gotta grab this and this. Oh crap, I forgot about that. Better get this while I'm here. Good lord, I'm 5 minutes late. Shit. I asked my friend this some years ago, and he explained it was because he hates waiting for people, which he might have to if he's on time. That's mildly egoistic if you ask me. I think there should be a distinction about punctuality. There are two types of events. Ones that are time sensitive and you are expected to be at on time, and ones that are not. If there is somewhere you should be at a certain time or it's going to frick up other people's crap, and you're more than 5-10 minutes late, you should at least call and explain yourself. Things like this includes, but isn't limited to, going to the movies, going to diner, going to a meeting spot and then carpooling somewhere else, etc. Other appointments such as a party that starts at 8 p.m. I don't see any reason why you should need to be there right at 8 on the dot. Be early, be late. Doesn't matter because the same things are going to be going on. Drinking, socializing, conversation, etc. My dad is always late. It annoys him too and he feels bad about it, but he can't change. He's tried to, but it never does. He likes to be extremely prepared for whatever he is doing, which contributes to most of his lateness. He is usually grabbing extra notebooks and such that he keeps notes in, for whatever he's going to, a notebook for that subject per se, and sometimes he needs to have one. That's just one reason he's late. I tend to consistently miscalculate the amount of time I'll need to do something, get somewhere. Only when I leave myself an extra 15-20 minutes for unforeseen obstacles do I actually get anywhere on time. So do that all the time and you've solved your problem. I grossly underestimate the time it takes me to do stuff and get it done. I tend to base it on the fastest it's ever taken me, which is dumb. I also tend to get distracted listening to a song then wanting to play it on guitar, talking to someone, but I've made an effort to be on time. Also at my previous job, I could come in whenever I felt with no consequences and the boss didn't care. Okay, hi, I am this person. I have social anxiety and I freak out about what to wear or how my makeup looks almost every time I look in the mirror before leaving the house. I start trying on different shirts and shoes and whatnot because I'm worried that I'm not presenting myself well if I show up in what I'm wearing. Too bad I'm actually presenting myself worse by always being late. My girlfriend is the same way. She goes, well, it will only take an hour and doesn't account for the half hour of shoe and shirt swaps mini fashion shows. I just shake my head and chuckle. You sad people are goofy, in the good way, of course. Whoa, this is a terrible bunch of comments. People answering the question aren't getting upvotes while people having a self-righteous circular jerk over how much they hate late people are getting the sympathy upvotes. Time management is a valuable skill, but there's no need to rub it in other people's faces. I agree. Further, It sounds like most people here who are offended by lateness respond by engaging in passive-aggressive behavior. If it's such a big deal or so insulting, tell your friends, acquaintances, co-workers that it bothers you. Chances are they don't realize it's a problem. If you live in a big city and rely on public transportation to get around, you're at its mercy. Your options are to plan to be a half hour early and wait around, or to try to get there on time but potentially be late. Plus, since everyone else uses public transit too, if you wind up early and they wind up late, you're there an hour by yourself. It's not worth it. I am the most punctual person I know. Every once in a blue moon I will meet another keeper of the agreed time. We nod in silence, knowing we are both people of our word. I just want to point out to all the people complaining about having their time disrespected that I think part of the problem is a fundamental difference in the way people who are a little more lax with deadlines and appointments think about time versus how you do. You seem to be placing this imaginary personal insult on the situation, which makes the unfounded assumption that they would feel the same if you were late. To them, being late is not an insult. It just doesn't matter that much. No one is trying to insult you. They're living their own lives and their brains just think differently than yours. They probably don't throw a fit every time they are inconvenienced. Someone is running late. Do something else until they get there. Who gives a crap? I am 5 minutes late for work every single day. It's hard to explain. Some days I am ahead of schedule, but then I make an elaborate lunch to bring. Some days I even leave on time. But then I am sluggish getting out of my car because, well, I have enough time. I think 5 minutes is totally reasonable. I think OP is talking people that arrive at the restaurant after everyone's already ordered late. Simply put, crap does happen. And by crap I mean my usual morning shoots take anywhere from 10-30 minutes. So imagine how tough it is to plan for that. I don't understand people being consistently late, especially in a work environment. If you are always 5 minutes late to work, then leave your house 5 minutes earlier. Learn from it. Then again, I am habitually early. I have some neurosis that literally makes me panic if I think I'm going to be even 5 minutes late. I become visually flustered, even bordering on angry. I'm like that too. Being on time is being late for me. I must be there at least 5 minutes early. If class starts at 8 o'clock, I have to be there at 7:50 so I can get to my locker, get coffee, get my books, pens, etc. out and ready. People who come stumbling in at 8 o'clock and then rummage in their bag while the teacher is trying to start the lecture is really annoying to me. Sometimes it's hard for me to drag myself out of bed. It's just so much warmer and safer under my blanket. You can't be awkward or freak up too much if you aren't there. I also have a problem with time management because I always overestimate my ability to get places and underestimate the time it takes to get there. It really started with my parents. They're terrible at getting places on time because there's always something we forget to check or left in the house, or some scrambling around when we realize that it's almost time to go. Most people I see don't care about my punctuality, which works well for me. I've been setting my leaving time half an hour early so that I actually leave at the right time. It's a work in progress. I was a late guest this morning, as am I always. I usually try very hard to be on time, but my memory is terrible. Today we forgot presents and had to turn around and go back home to get them. Sometimes I'll make it down to the car only to realize I left my purse, jacket, shoes, whatever. Sometimes I just lose track of time trying to get dressed. It doesn't help that all of my stuff is completely disorganized. When I know the next morning is going to be hectic, I try to get things ready the night before, such as putting bags by the front door, getting my outfit ready, etc. A good buddy of mine does this. Here's a situation I've been a part of maybe 100 times. He and I are out on a booze cruise, or heading to a party, whatever. We're like 20 minutes away from our destination. He gets a phone call from our hosts. He says, "Hey, yeah, we'll be there in 5 minutes. Hangs up. No, dude, we won't. 15 minutes from now, our friends will be wondering where we are. Question mark? My friend is always late. Doesn't matter the occasion. Doesn't matter the urgency. He is always late. I've figured it out now. I will tell him that we are going to leave to go somewhere at 5:30. He won't actually get off his butt and get ready until the clock hits 5:30. Even if I stress to him that we need to leave at 5:30, he still doesn't start getting his shoes on and putting on different clothes if needed and going to the bathroom. He's like a big toddler sometimes, and if you don't push and nag him like a mother would, he'll just sit in front of the TV. I know several people like this. They do not have any concrete sense of time for preparation. All they hear is 5:30, then 5:30 is their cue to start caring about anything. I stopped caring after driving like a fool multiple times to arrive just on time wherever I needed to be, only to find myself waiting over there for more than 20 minutes because the other party didn't think it was necessary to be on time. The lesson you should have learned was not to drive like a fool. Not that, oh well, clearly being on time is at fault. Either allot enough time, or deal with being a few minutes late. No need to kill yourself getting there. Over the years, my other half has finally convinced me I literally cannot accurately conceive time. This has taken him so long because I can't understand how I can be different in this way, but he's so consistently pointed it out at various times, usually laughing. I finally get that he's right. Examples: utterly exasperated. Oh my god, this thing has taken me like 20 minutes and it's still not done. My other half bursting into laughter. Are you actually serious right now? You've been at it for less than 5 minutes. Example 2. Me. Okay, I can totally take a shower and get ready in 20 minutes, and we can leave at past. Him. Me. That okay? Him. Are you joking right now? You cannot get ready in 20 minutes. Me. Indignant. Oh, of course I can. I can't take a 5-minute shower and wash my hair in 20-30 minutes. Him. Okay, 1 hour later. Me. I'm so freaking late. How the frick am I this freaking late? How did this actually happen? Is that clock right? How is ITX a clock? Him. I told. Me. If you say I told you so, I will kill you where you stand. My friends have made this a long-running joke and always ask me when making plans if I will be somewhere at regular time or Admiral Bison time. So I give them my estimate and then account for my crappy interpretation of that estimate to navigate the problem. It usually works quite well. D. P.S. I am aware that my BF is amazeballs for putting up with me, and the above is for comedic effect only. I promise I'm not that kind of horrible B=P. I used to be impeccable when it came to timing. Show up 5 minutes early to everything. Late meant that I was right on time. Then I started hanging out with a group of people in an organization on my campus that was always late, so if I showed up on time I'd be too early and end up waiting. Also, I'm clinically depressed and sometimes being late to things means that I can actually handle attending them without feeling too overwhelmed. I get super involved in things I do, so if I'm writing or whatever, then I'll be late to the classes I teach because I just don't notice the time changing. If I'm late to a social event, it's either because I was preparing food or got involved in a video game. I work most days including weekends, and as I don't currently hold a full UK driving license I need to take the bus to work. I swear the bus is always either ridiculously early, so I miss it, or insanely late, so I'm late for work, and incur sarcastic remarks from this one guy. You know that one guy, there's always one. Have any of you ever been to California? Lateness is built into the society. People always show up to every party 1 hour late. Always. I went to Cal and classes actually started 10 minutes later than listed on the schedule. So if you show up to anything on time you are just wasting your time. It's very confusing and frustrating. I am someone who is habitually late, but it's not because I think it's acceptable or don't realize how much it annoys other people. I actually do actively try not to be late. I just suck at it. There are a couple of factors. Most of them have been mentioned. Crappy at estimating how long tasks will take. Forgetting to include time for things like parking in my calculations, etc. One important thing, for me, that I haven't seen mentioned. I don't experience the passage of time the way punctual people seem to. What I mean is, when I'm engaged in a task, such as getting ready to go out, 2 hours doesn't feel any different to me than 20 minutes. A lot of times I literally don't even realize I'm going to be late until it's too late, because I think I've only been doing whatever I'm doing for a few minutes. I do try to combat this by setting alarms in 15-minute or whatever intervals, but that doesn't always help. If I have a set amount of things I must do before I leave the house, brush teeth, shower, dry my hair, get dressed, gather my things, etc., and I mistakenly don't progress quickly enough through them, my next alarm might go off, indicating it's time to move on to the next phase, but oh crap, I'm still not even close to done with the previous one. WTF. I thought I had only been doing this for 2 minutes. Also, giving myself more time doesn't seem to help because the task somehow always expands to fill whatever time is allotted to it, and then some. I'm German, living in the US, working with mostly South Americans. Oh boy, I've grown some grey hair over the years. Gotta meet you all. For me, I'm always late BC. I have really crazy ADHD. I'm not on meds BC. I don't have insurance, so it is difficult for me to do anything. I can be getting dressed. Then I realize I forgot to make my bed. Now I'm making the bed. Then I realize I should have washed the sheets today. Now I'm stripping the bed. Then I realize I left the detergent in the trunk of the car. Now I am at the car. Then I realize that my son dropped his peanut butter sandwich in the back seat. Now I'm cleaning the car. Now it's 2 hours later and I'm late as frick. My advice: when you invite people you know are going to be late, schedule it early and don't set a defined time. For example, say, hey, would you like to come over this evening? Them, yeah, you want them to be there around 6:30. Okay, how about around 6:15? Be prepared ahead of time in case they actually show up on time. However, don't expect it. I have a friend who also is constantly late. I used to take offense personally, but now I just get that it is in his nature. That is a fact, and it is a very annoying and selfish fact. However, I'm not better in other manners, so I try my hardest to take it with a grain of salt. You know, I'm perpetually late, occasionally just on time, and on rare days, 5 minutes early. It's something that causes great anxiety for me as I know how much it bothers people. When I'm on my way to some place, I constantly check the clock to pace myself to see if I can make it on time. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but most times I end up hurting someone, myself included, in the process. Most recently, I lost an A in one of my courses by 0.2% because I was 14 and not 15 minutes early to one of my final exams. Sometimes I'm late because I haven't managed my time well and thought I could do something within a time frame. Other times I am in a social setting and can't find a convenient way to excuse myself, but I don't want to slip away and cause people to worry, think that I am upset. There's loads of reasons why we are late, but ultimately it's important to realize that we all make mistakes and hopefully we're trying to make amends or to improve our habits. As a side note, OP already expressed his frustration at those of us who are often late and thus posed the question to us. I didn't come to this thread to be scolded. Everyone has a fatal flaw and I wish you all could just relax and be more gracious. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.